guys, wanted to introduce you to a couple of gold level sponsors of Top Rated MMA and the Bearded Biz Show. Number one, Anglesey Family Chiropractic. They're in Coeur d'Alene where I'm at. They're also in Spokane Valley. I know I have a lot of fighters that follow our show and have been able to connect with fighters from that area. If you're a fighter, if you're at the gym, or just need an adjustment, Dr. Craig Anglesey is your guy. Go check him out. He is in Coeur d'Alene and Spokane Valley. I also wanted to introduce you to Training is Ritual. They're an MMA apparel company based out of Alabama. They've got MMA gear for both men and women, accessories, rash guards, supplements. If you're into death metal, horror movies, leg locks, and MMA, this is the brand you want to go check out. They're an awesome apparel brand, high quality gear every time. Go check them out, trainingisritual.com. Chris, you're a coach, personal trainer, MMA fighter. Again, thank you so much, man, for taking time. I appreciate it.
No problem at all.
You just won your pro debut in under 2 minutes at World Combat Fighting Championships. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, how did it feel to get that first pro win out of the way?
It was more relief than anything. Like, it was just, I just had to get that first one out of the way. That more than anything. I didn't want to be that guy to have a loss in his first pro fight. I wanted to get a win straight off the bat, if you get me.
Yeah. I wanted to go back a little bit because you mentioned to me that you started fighting because you had to defend yourself from being bullied and stuff. What was happening to you, man? What was going on?
Well, I'm autistic, so when I was at school, kids took advantage of the way that I spoke and the way that I acted, because obviously I've got a mental disability. I'm going to act a little bit differently. I'm going to behave a little bit differently to other kids. So a lot of kids took advantage of that. Like took the piss out of me and different things like that. Called me names. Some kids even pushed me around, got physical. So, wow. I had to do something about it. So I learned traditional Jiu Jitsu when I was about 7 years old, and from there I progressed into doing like competitive martial arts.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, how do you get through that mentally? I mean, there's so many people that deal with bullying all the time, and it just sucks. I can't believe that that's still a thing. But how did you get through that transition away from that bullying mentally?
It's a bit ago now thinking about it, but
yeah,
it was more focusing on other things. As mad as that sounds, like
sure.
Like at the time, I'm thinking when I was learning the martial arts and everything, I was thinking, oh yeah, like I have something to fight back against the bullies. I have something to make them afraid of me. But as I've grown up and I've realised it was more of a mental thing. It was more learning the martial arts, going to the classes, and just getting my mind away from the negativity more than anything. That's from my experiences of it.
Yeah.
And also, I think what's good about learning how to fight is you don't need to.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's the best part about actually knowing how to fight, because when I was a young kid and I didn't actually know how to fight, I got into a lot of fights. Whereas I'm a grown man now, and since I started training, I haven't been in one fight. I've had probably 20 opportunities to get into a proper fight. Sure. I've never took one. I've never took one because I don't see the point.
Yeah. And you said you started out in jiu-jitsu as a young kid and that transition to MMA. What did your parents think when you're like, I want to go do this. I want to go get in a cage and go fight?
I saw a documentary when I was a kid. It was sometime when I was doing traditional jiu-jitsu. I saw a documentary. It was on the special features of a film that I watched. I think it was Red Belt, it was called. And it was going in depth about the Gracies and like the Valley Tudor days and different things like that. And I didn't know what mixed martial arts was at the time. So when I saw that documentary, I thought, like, wow, like you can actually do that. Like, I didn't. It wasn't a thing back then. It was a bit more unknown back then. I didn't know that the UFC was a thing. I didn't know Pride was a thing. And
sure.
I watched that documentary and I just thought, wow, I reckon I could do this. So from there, I thought, right, I'm gonna go to all these different schools. I'm gonna learn how to box, kickbox. I'm gonna learn how to do jiu-jitsu. Because at the time, before I started doing MMA, there wasn't really any MMA schools in my town.
Okay.
So I had to go to different martial arts schools across the town.
Yeah. And you started back in 2013 as a 15-year-old. You had your first amateur fight. You snapped your shin in 5 seconds, man. What the heck happened? And Why did you decide to go back into this? Like most people would have just quit it, called it quits right there.
As mad as it sounds, it was more of like an unfinished business sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I had a goal of proving the bullies wrong. I had a goal of I didn't want to be that guy that did something and gave up. I just didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be that guy that started something and pushed as hard as he could to get to the top of it. That was my goal more than anything.
Yeah.
And also, it's like, looking back on it, what else would I have done? Like, fighting's my life, man. It just is. So, as horrible as it were when I broke my leg, man, it was shit. It was really, really horrible. It was scary. I mean, 15 years old too. It was a proper horrific experience for me. But it was one of them things. I had to get back in there. I had to get back in there and prove to myself that I could do it.
Love that, dude. Love that. And I wanted to ask you about weight cutting, because a lot of fighters, they cut so much weight, they get hurt, they get sick. And what's that process look like for you when you try to cut weight? Do you cut much weight for your fights?
So I've had 15 total full contact fights, 14 amateur, 1 pro. So I've had 15.
Okay.
Out of them 15, I've done big cuts, I've done small cuts, and some of them I've not even done cuts.
Oh, okay.
From my experience as an amateur, the worst cut I did was 11 kilos in 5 days. So what is that in pounds? That's 25 pounds, I think, something around about. I did that in 5 days. That's the biggest cut I've done. And the smallest weight cut I've done was in 5 days, 5 kilos.
Okay.
It's the smallest weight cut I've done.
Yeah.
My best advice to fighters, because that 11 kilo cut that I did, I won the fight, but I think it did affect my performance on that night. Like, I took 1 shot to the head, and at the time I didn't think anything was wrong, but I watched the video back of the fight, my legs were wobbling.
Oh, gotcha.
My legs were wobbling straight away, and it wasn't even that hard of a shot from what I remember.
Sure.
And also, just think your timing's off when you cut that much weight. Like, I don't think you're really there, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it affects you. Plus, it fucks with your stamina. It really fucks with your stamina. So I really don't recommend massive weight cuts to fighters. I really don't. Plus, it's horrible. Like, why put yourself through that? Like, I know a lot of guys can do it. They can get an advantage. Some guys can do it easier than others. But honestly, it's just a fucking sport. Like, my best recommendations to just do, like around 10% or less of your body weight.
Okay.
Like, don't go like beyond that, in my opinion. Or if anything, try not to cut as much. I mean, I know it's a tough one because everybody's doing it. That's the issue with it.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't cut to 66, I have to fight at 70 kilos. So that's lightweight. If I don't fight at featherweight, I have to fight at lightweight. There's some fucking massive lightweights out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everywhere they're fucking massive nowadays too.
Right.
So it's one of them things. It's either get the weight off and suffer, or you're going to be at a disadvantage in the fight. It's a lose-lose situation if you think about it either way.
Yeah, totally. You're braver than I, man. I love being on this side of the cage, so thank you for what you do, man.
Yeah, but definitely, from my experiences, fighting's easy, training's awesome. It's fucking weight cutting, mate. You get rid of that, this sport's 1,000 times better, honestly.
Right. Gosh, man, that's all. Do you ever get scared or like have fear come over you?
What do you mean before fighting?
Yeah, before fight, like if you're backstage.
Some fights, yeah. Some fights, no. Like, I'll be honest. Some fights, yes. Some fights, no.
Okay.
But it depends on what you mean by fear. Like,
yeah,
it's a weird one, that.
Sure.
Like, every single fight I've done, I've been afraid, but it's what you're afraid of.
Oh yeah.
That's the question. My first ever fight, I was fucking afraid of everything. I'm not gonna lie. That one when I was 15 years old and I snapped my leg.
Yeah.
I was that hyped up before it because I was terrified of everything. I was terrified of the crowd. I was terrified of the guy we were fighting. That's why I kicked him so hard and broke my leg, because I was fucking terrified.
Sure.
But like recent fights, I'm not scared necessarily. I won't say scared.
Sure.
I'd say cautious. I'd say cautious more than anything. Like,
Okay.
there's a lot on the line. Like, especially for that last fight I've done. If I lost that fight, you know what I mean? I'm a fucking bum. That's the way it would have been if I lost that fight. No one gives a shit about your amateur record. So
Right.
I lost that first pro fight. You know, that would have been the end for me pretty much. So backstage for that last fight, I was throwing up backstage. I was really nervous. I wasn't scared of the opponent at all. I wasn't scared of getting hurt. I wasn't scared of anything. It was just the fuck, like, this means a lot. Like, I have to win this. Like, this is the start. So yeah, I'm scared, but I'm more scared about failure. Failure, I'd say, is the fear.
Yeah.
Failure and disappointment.
Right. I mean, you hear Donald Cerrone, he pukes every time before he goes out to the cage, man, and all these big name fighters. And, you know, it's like, but I can't imagine, man. That's crazy. How did you get the nickname Crazy?
Right. So my original coach, Rob Friedman, because I used to train at a different gym. I used to train at Blackburn Predators here in Blackburn.
Okay.
Don't train there anymore. Some stuff came up, but you know, I'm still cool with them all. But I just train at Manchester now. But anyways, Rob, my original trainer, he gave me that nickname, and it was because of how different I was when I was in the gym. Like, because I'm autistic and I'm basically all over the place. Like, I don't say things like a normal person would say. I don't do things like normal people. So he just thought, oh, you're a crazy kid. Because there was another Chris at the gym at the time, and they called him Big Chris. He was big and strong. So they couldn't just call me Chris. They had to say Little Chris, but Little Chris didn't really work because I weren't that little. I was tall. So it was like, all right, then Crazy Chris. We'll call you Crazy Chris because you're a crazy fucker. We're like, okay, then I'm Crazy Chris from now on, then I guess. And it just stuck. It just stuck from there. And you watch a lot of my fights after fights. I do some bizarre things, so I guess it's fitting.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, your girlfriend, Megan Morris, she's been on my show, and she's an absolute badass.
She is.
How do you guys separate that personal relationship and the professional relationship when you're training together in the gym?
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, it's very difficult. Think about it. I was going to say we're both professional fighters now. Megan's not had a pro debut yet, but she will when this coronavirus shit's over. She probably will have a pro debut.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both professional fighters. It's really hard because all we do is this sport. When we wake up, even now that we're in isolation because of the virus, we're getting up every day. We're training at home. We're trying to go on runs. We're trying to eat right. It's very difficult, but yeah, we're trying to eat right. And here's the thing: when we hold pads for each other, this is the thing that that's difficult because we're boyfriend and girlfriend. We need to almost remember that when we're training.
Yeah.
Or almost forget it. I don't know. It's weird. Like I hold pads for Megan because I'm a coach at the end of the day. I'm a personal trainer. When I hold pads for somebody, I want them to do things right. If I see Megan do a mistake, I'll bring it up. But because she's my girlfriend, and you probably everybody understands this if they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Sure.
There's comfort involved. So if I say something to Megan like, or your hands down a little bit, for example. I mean, a lot of the time Megan's technique's like spot on. Not gonna lie, it's spot on. But there's very rare occurrences where I'll see something like, oh yeah, if you just put your foot here, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's me saying that. You get me? Don't do it. You don't listen. but somebody else will say it.
Yeah.
She'll listen. It's because there's comfort, and vice versa. If Megan's holding pads for me, we're comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Anyway, so it's hard. It's hard to. We're just Megan and Chris. you know, in the gym and out of the gym, really, we don't really change.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't really change at all. Yeah, fighting's your life. There's no real way around it, to be fair.
Right. I've had a few couples on my show, and they've kind of said there's not really that separation. It's really hard to, because we just do it in life and we do it in training, and that's pretty rad, man.
That's all we do, man. That's all we do.
Right. Yeah. When are you looking to get back in the cage? Obviously, this coronavirus thing's going on, but are you trying to get back in the cage as soon as possible?
Well, the plan was actually October.
Okay.
Sounds realistic, but it's hard to say with everything that's going on.
Sure.
Really, if I'm honest, if this shit weren't going on, I'd probably want to fight in summer.
Yeah.
Like, because I want to get my first 3 out the way.
Right.
Like my first 3 pro fights, but this fucking virus has just fucked everything up for my career, really, like early on.
Sure.
I mean, I'm going to be fat too. When this is over, I'm going to be really fat. Like, I might have to go up a weight class, and I'm not even joking. Like me not training properly or eating properly for God knows however long this is going to last. Like, I've got worries that it's going to last for about a year.
Okay.
But,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I want to transition to a couple fun questions here for us.
All right.
I've got these things are called pod decks. Essentially, it's just random questions on this deck of cards.
Oh, God.
Pull one out and see what happens here.
Oh, dear.
This one says, what's the funniest thing you've seen a kid do?
That's really random, that.
Totally. Or maybe transition to anybody. What's the funniest thing you've seen anybody do?
I've probably done something really funny thinking about it. My PT is probably going to kill me for this, but I'll have to say it. I have a PT called Dave. So anyways, I was teaching him how to do sprawls, okay, a bit ago. And, you know, before obviously all this stuff happened, the coronavirus,
yeah.
I did a PT for him recently, and I got him doing sprawls. Now, I thought he knew how to sprawl from earlier PTs. So I'm getting him doing like a shadow boxing drill, shadow boxing. And every time I say sprawl, I'm not shitting you, he jumped in the air and landed on his side. Like, you know, if someone gets run over and like they dive onto the car, that's what he did every time I shouted sprawl.
Okay. That's awesome.
But the funny thing is, I didn't say anything. I just let him do it.
Right.
I needed my entertainment for the day.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. You talked about this a little bit. Being in the house, you're probably eating a ton of food. What's the favorite cheat meal for you?
Favorite cheat meal for me? Well, because I'm eating that much right now, there's not actually a favorite. It's just eat. But if I had to pick one, it'd definitely be pizza. Pizza's my food. Like, if you watch a fight I had years ago against Will Kearns, I think it was my second full contact fight. After I won the fight, I dived on top of the cage and I looked at the camera and I screamed pizza at the top of my lungs.
That's awesome.
So ever since then, people that have followed me amateur career have known me for that guy who loves pizza.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm a music guy, so I always love to ask this question. But what's a favorite type of music, or do you have a favorite band that you like to listen to?
I'm just out, just anything really.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything that sounds good, really. I'm not really big into rap.
Okay.
Apart from Eminem, I like Eminem.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I'm not really into rap. Anything but, you know, like 21st century rap, I think is very shit, in my opinion.
Right.
My personal opinion.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Apart from that, though, I'm pretty open to different music.
Last question for you. Who wins in a game of Monopoly, you or Megan?
I've not actually ever played Monopoly, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Not seriously.
Okay. That's awesome. Is there a board game that you and Megan play that you just like smoke her on?
I wouldn't even say a smoker on it, but chess, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we both have our moments. We both have our moments playing chess.
Okay, that's awesome. Chris, I also want to give you an opportunity just to give a shout out to coaches, teammates, sponsors, anything like that, man. The camera's all yours.
Okay, I'd like to thank my head coach, Gavin Boardman, and all the team at Manchester Predators, in particular my teammates, Tom Wright, Sam Spencer, Ben Knight, Aaron McDonald. Sorry, I can't name everybody, so yeah, you know who you are. Obviously, my girlfriend, Megan Morris. I'd like to thank a few sponsors. I'd like to thank these guys. If you can see, can you get that in?
Yep, it's in.
Yep, Sabre. clothing brand that have sponsored me
Cool.
before my last fight. They've been absolutely awesome working with me in the lead up. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Active Dental. They've sorted out my gum shield for my last fight. So these guys sorted out this gum shield. Active Dental in Cheshire.
Sweet.
And also, I'd like to thank all the people that came to support me in my fight. Everybody who bought a ticket to come watch me. It means the world to me. We don't make a lot of money as fighters, so anytime someone comes to watch me, it makes a massive difference. Okay?
Yeah.
A massive difference. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who supports me in general. All my friends and family, I love you all.
It's such an honor to be able to talk to you today, Chris. I'm excited to see you back in the cage. Hopefully by the summer, this whole coronavirus thing is gone. But either way, man, looking forward to seeing you get back in there and kicking some more ass, man. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging around. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more videos from Top Rated MMA and the Bearded Biz Show, please click the playlist and also hit subscribe to our channel. Become part of the Top Rated MMA and Bearded Biz community. We would really appreciate your support. Also, please leave a comment below. I will read and respond to all of them. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day.